Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik and this is the game War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. Today back with a match against KilRoy. Scenario 1 and 1 day turn set up, and KilRoy is the allied player and for me the Empire of Japan. And now we arrived already at the 12th December 1941, so we're closing the first week of the war. Means still high pressure from my side with expected victories and swift clean-up operation in China, Malaya, and also in the Philippines. I must conquer fast ground and at the same time try to intercept the retreating Allied cargo ships and forces without losing too much of my own. So here we have the next amphibious assault on Rabaul. By bringing more troops on shore. Up to now I just barely even the attack value with Australian troops here based. And there's still some counter battery fire you can see. Luckily most of them are short and landing no real critical hits. But one light cargo ship and one of the other cargo ship is on fire, but light losses. Everything's only disabled. The landing itself is more bloody for me at the end. So, Guam is also unloading still. And my cruiser formation find one of this smaller allied task forces, some cargo ships and a tanker, but nothing with protection. Trying to make here some torpedo attack, and yes, it's working. If you can surprise the enemy, then of course torpedo attacks have a much higher chance to hit something. Good, but at the end is our only kind. All three are dead in the water or on the bottom of the sea now. But no troops loaded and also maybe no fuel on board. There are still some torpedo boats trying to mess up with my unloading, but my Japanese task force tried to avoid now the attack, and this time was successful. So KilRoy still uses PT boats to engage my landing operations here in Iba. My cruisers are now catching up and maybe end this chapter once for all. But no hit. And again, the PT boats can escape. And this is at Markin, where I just unload my marines, and surprisingly here are some heavy cruisers with destroyer escort. So KilRoy uses his cruisers formation more aggressively and intercept my side invasion here. And this is of course now a slaughter on my side, so my cargo ship is going down. Don't expect here anything. And with my cargo ship is also going down my marines. Luckily it was only part of a unit, so it was a third of a Navy Guard unit, so yeah. I losing here some units, that for sure. it's a setback, but it's not critical. It is here out where it's at the Markin, so here's Nauru Island, and then there's Ocean Island. This is the front line, let's say this. But this already indicates that KilRoy is using his navy in some case really more active and not holding only back. And now he won't bombard Markin, looks like. Yeah, we can see. So he damaged the port, not that there's really anything. Unloading in Kabul. Yeah, many shells and at the end not really much impact. So Nauru Island, also some parts of a base force from the Australians, but nothing really can fight. So no big navy engagement. I mean, with warships on both sides, only light engagement. PT boats escaping. Then I find some cargo ships and tankers. But no big bang, no big explosions. So now it's related to my air force. If I maybe can think here a little more. And you can see already that my scout airplanes going out and finding many task forces. And maybe also can create a hit on an AM or AG, something like this. So everything trying to escape the sewer buyer. This makes sense. There's a shipyard, there are fuel, there are supplies. Every ship can reach the sewer buyer. Also have the cover of the Dutch Air Force. Not maybe powerful, but enough to keep my navy bombers away, because I simply don't have the numbers to attack the Java now. Scouting. now my ships are under attack. My pure local minesweepers I sent already from Palau Islands north to arrive near to Manila, Bataan, to clean up later the mines after I took all of the bases. So the rest of the American Air Force in the Philippines low on everything, but still one P-35 is engaging with my zeros, and again only damaged and return to base. But the three P-26, like last one already, I think that airframe is simply too slow to escape my zeros. At least one airframe less. And all of the P-40s looks like that KilRoy took them out and sent them somewhere to Tarakan or here in the southern area. Again, so here are P-40s for sure in Tarakan. These are these P-40Bs. This airframe is not more under production. My zero's coming from behind, but still only damage. Okay. One American pilot lost his nerves and rushed back to the base, so he can fight another day. There's a second P-40 kill for the day. Okay, at the end only 2 out of maybe 8. Still 6 left, or more, waiting on the board. Now the China support bombardment. Still using here some zeros for escort because I was still afraid that maybe KilRoy will suddenly use his fighters here in China, but up to now it looks like no, he's hiding and waiting. This is an attack on the base forces in Georgetown. The rest maybe all escape already. There's a base force I think is hard locked, cannot escape, static. All still only disabled, so all of these Chinese forces are ready to fight and defend, or even attack me if KilRoy wants it. This was a failure, or at least not successful. So you already can see that the numbers of airstrikes are increasing slowly in China. More and more air wings are now in the final position where they can operate with more success and not high fatigue. At the beginning, I have to bring in aviation support, build up the airport, bring in the airplanes, let them rest 1 or 2 days so that they are not more fatigued, and now I can start with this continuously bombardment day by day, if I find the targets making sense to attack. Here's an airstrike from the B-17s out of wherever. Here you cannot see it. Want to attack a Kuantan, so this is a KilRoy trying to mess up with my unloading and loading in Kuantan, but without fighter escort. I have here only Oscar 1B, maybe not the best airframe, but the pilots are all very skillful. So I hope I can at least get this B-17's little damaged. But the issue is with the Oscar that the B-17 is, I think, faster than the Oscar, or at least the same speed, so it's really not easy to intercept B-17s with this kind of airframe. Oscar Zeros are really better for this kind of duty. But 2 B-17s are simply maybe too little numbers to really have an impact. And luckily they are missing. When on the way out I can damage them again. But yeah. But too slow. So yeah. Long range attack, half bump load, 10,000 feet. I damage them 3-4 times, but I cannot down them. And again, unescorted torpedo bombers running from my carriers. And here's one Hawk. Luckily, the Hawk is not in the best position. And here's the Reuter. And here's the Surabaya port. So 1 hex before the ship can reach the safety of the port, I can at least get some bomb hits on the Reuter. Ooh. But my torpedo attacks failed and I lost at least one of my bombers. And now the Hawk is here to catch my torpedo bombers, trying to return to the carrier. They killed one of my torpedo bombers. So 1 lost by flak and 1 lost by air battle. And 1 more damage maybe. And all I can create is 1 250 kilogram bomb hit on the Reuter. Yeah, at least something. Here I have no escort, so don't ask me why, but I mean luckily maybe here I have the escort because here are much more Warhawks. So now the Warhawks are not more in the Philippines, and this is now clearly I think out of the Surabaya. And here are AGP. And here torpedo hit on the AGP is of course a little waste. And the air combat is completely avoided. Good, AGP 2-point ship or something like this. In Balikpapan there are some Dutch buffaloes, so these are Dutch buffaloes without armor protection on only light machine guns, but faster or more nimble. But against a Zero with a good pilot, it doesn't matter how you have your buffalo. You have the American buffalo with heavy guns, armor, but then they are slow and really cannot have no good maneuver values, or you can have this British mix, or you have this Dutch super light, the maximum speed and maximum maneuver values, but they're always slower than a Zero. And they never are so nimble like a Zero, and a Zero have more firepower. The only thing what Zero is missing is also no armor protection or no hit points. Yeah. At the end I find here only some light cargo ships. Again, many of these cheap ships, the Dutch and the Americans using here for normally peacetime duty. But for war they have minimum value. Maybe it's the first 2-3 months you can still use these light cargo ships, but later on the Allies have so many good cargo ships, so why you want to use this light cargo ships? Good. One Buffalo may be killed and 2 light cargo ships are destroyed. Now we have here much more enemy cap fighters. Luckily I have also 12 of my Zeros. We will see. The Demon is normally absolute airplane like a nade. It's too slow. Only 2 light machine guns. But if the Demon is now behind my Zero. It is always critical. So even a shitty airplane like this, if it can dive and it simply have a good pilot, or at least an acceptable pilot, can still do something. But don't expect too much. But we're fighting here over the hex of Soabaya, so it's very unlikely that I can kill here the pilots. But again, it is maybe more important to crash enemy airframes early on. In the first, I think, at least 3 or 4 or 5 months, the replacement rate of the Allied Air Force is low. And first ramping up after summer 42. But somehow you can see that the enemy cap fighters are now already attacking my dive bombers, so my Zeros was not very successful in cover and shielding my dive bombers. And I can only be lucky because the Demon have still not the firepower to really hurt my airframes fast. The Hawk, I think, is much stronger already. But now the Warhawk, of course, is powerful. This is the E edition with the heavy machine guns. And I lost already 2 dive bombers. There's number 3. And this is number 4. So this is more or less a costly airstrike for me. Using here so many dive bombers and have escort, and the escort is simply failing to cover my guys. At least the target they pick, and this is only a cruiser mine layer, so nothing really important. At least they can create a hit on this ship. But of course, high losses for my dive bomber air wing. The benefit is, or the only good outcome is that maybe now many of these Dutch cap fighters are busy or tired, so they cannot now attack this strike, where I have my torpedo bombers. Here my zeros can do the duty, make sure that no one attacking the strike craft. Hit but no explosion. Yeah. But this is one torpedo. And the second. And the third. And this is of course enough. Instant kill. Okay, job done. No losses. Now the the Dutch bombers are coming, luckily without escort. I still have my Peter backup cap fighters here. And now it's payback time. After I lost 4 of my dive bombers, I think my zero fighters are eager to get revenge and want to see the blood of the enemies running. But the Peats are really too slow. You can see again and again. This is really only a support role of a Peat flying boat. It's never meant to really be an interceptor. But this gives me additional numbers in a time where I have not enough airframes ready to operate. But still 12 bombers coming through. Attacking Hiryu. But missing the target. Now Suyo. Also missing. Next attempt, always flag damage. But still no success for the Dutch Air Force so far. And this time they're coming in 5,000 feet, so this is, I would say, a normal attack range. 3 bombs each bomber, so normally the numbers are fine, the altitude is fine. Luckily for me, no hit. But there are more coming, and this force looks bigger and stronger. The really only benefit here is, already let me see that there's no strike craft. This L212 are scout bombers, they don't have any payload. So this is more or less like a pure fighter battle. And we fighting in open sea over my carrier, so if I damage airplanes returning to base, then maybe the Hawks and Warhawks will be lost if they get damaged. And the pilots is also lost, more likely. yeah, sometimes you're running out of ammunition before you can get the kill. Now it's my cap fighters already reaching the enemy bombers, and these are really, even if I don't kill them, even if they attack me, there's no firepower behind them. I was able to defend my carrier division. Okay, nothing really critical happened. More ships are sinking. Yeah, bad weather is always a friend of the allies. Now you can see that there's still some warhawks in Manila or around Manila on duty. So it's not that complete, or maybe KilRoy. I don't know if he moved them back and forward or if he have them maybe rested before to. But you also saw that this P-40s, they not engaging my bombers, so maybe they're on training, or this is some odd, wrong information. My bombers trying to attack here the destroyers, but no success. So in the display you can see the P-40s, but here at the battle report they are not shown. They're not taking part of the battle, so I don't know exactly if this was now units on training, and this is the reason why they don't show up. I also cannot see them here, so here is no information about P-40s. And this time also no P-40s more. Second attempt of today. Take out these destroyers or not. No, unlikely. No. Again, failure. Many torpedoes, many attack runs, but no success. Luckily, my destroyer minesweeper can avoid this sub-attack for torpedoes. So this was a real sub-attack. This destroyer minesweeper, I think, had some damage, and I bring it back to Miri to get new fuel and make some repair first in Miri, and then later send it over to Saigon shipyard. And here is my submarine failed to take out this PG patrol gunboat. So additional landings in Rabaul. One hit on my cargo ship. Nauru Island. And I have a shock attack because I must cross the river, so my tank units are going for Temulo. And I can take the base in a swift attack. The base force surrender. There was simply no attack value left. Minimal losses on my side. And most of these British forces are already destroyed or breaking and retreating. And so this means I can take this important base in the center of Malaya very swiftly. And maybe can bring in the 15th Army even more south to Malaya, close to Singapore. This is now the second Battle of Hong Kong, and there's not more much left to stop me. I have 2 full divisions supporting by the Army Commander and engineers or pioneers.
Hello, you fighting orphans of the Pacific. This is your favorite enemy, Orphan Anne, at Radio Tokyo, with music to lift your spirits and words to depress your morale. But first, Imperial General Headquarters announced today that the ever-victorious forces of the Japanese Empire have captured Hong Kong.
So this is maybe, I don't know if it's a standard, but I would say this is my common strategy against Hong Kong. Try to bring in these 2 divisions with army headquarters and then take it as soon as possible. Hong Kong is really needed for the battleships and battle cruisers to rearm them. At least with scenario 1, it's a little hard to get the 14 shell inch back on the battleships without a big port. And Saigon is simply not a deep water port. You cannot go there with heavy units. So Hong Kong is the best choice if you don't want to go to Japan or move a lot of support ships from Japan to Taiwan. This is maybe also possible. So again, swift victory, no high losses. This whole operation against Hong Kong was a successful outcome. At the same time, because KilRoy know that I must bring in most of my forces on Hong Kong to take it swiftly, KilRoy was bringing in some Chinese forces to Canton to mess up maybe with my units, but I have at least something left in Canton to maybe strike back and kick them back. You can see they jumping back to northwest. And I had 400 attack value against 270, so not elegant. At the end it was a 2-to-1 power progression. And I was able to hurt most of these Chinese forces, but also suffered disabled squads. But this is still acceptable, of course. Not that the Chinese have unlimited manpower. It's only a question of time that they're coming back. And this is maybe all delay tactic. Northwest of Kota Baru, this is this Indian brigade or whatever it is, was escaping and I tried to catch up. But it's still retreating again, so it's blocking my drive forward or drive west to Georgetown. Still no real losses on my side and many destroyed British Malayan forces, but there is still a unit in the hex, so I cannot go directly to Georgetown. Now I must go first to this hex, then battle here again, and then to Georgetown. It cost me all time. One of my recon units I sent here north to pick up all of the bases, only to have this done early on. But no fight. Free picking. This is a space force out of Brunei, was escaping. I take the base again, but this Space Force still don't want to surrender. This war area is retreating, but is not defeated. Yeah. And more bombardment. So I was able to bring... I doubled my attack value, so maybe next turn I can take... or attempt the attack on Rabul. Now I have 4 times attack value. This is maybe enough. Now island. No big deal. Still, I have a lot of disabled units, so it's not a completely easy taking. And this is the first attack on Guam. I can reduce the 4 to level 0. Before it was level 1, so yeah. Because I have at least a 1-to-1 attack ratio. We disable each other equally, so it's okay. Need some more turns maybe. So, and this was the 12th of December, so far everything looks normal. Only this cruiser division picking up my amphibious assault in Markin was a surprise. Yeah. But still acceptable. These are small setbacks, I would say. I must handle, and I can ignore it. It is, yeah. Somewhere you will always lose a battle. In the skies, at the sea, or at land. So, 13th December. Well, let's see how the air war was. 18 to 13. So again, this is a balanced outcome. So now one is really in favor. So I killed some Dutch bombers, but I also lost my dive bombers, and I lost 4 of my torpedo bombers. So 8 of my strike carrier bombers are lost. This is already something. And I am able to kill at least some of these Warhawks, P-26, Demons, and these are these Dutch Buffaloes. But no, this is still, I would say, a common ratio. At least at the beginning of the war, this is nothingly surprisingly good or bad. It's common. Ships sunk. It's getting, the numbers getting smaller, less ships, less value ships going down. All for the allies, but you can see there's nothing really important more here. Maybe the tanker and the cargo ship is the best. Yeah. But this CM was a 1-point ship, so, and I wasted I think 3 or 4 torpedoes in it. Yeah. Good. Army lost points, 800 to 12 now, nearly. So I mean, the Japanese side will create a lot of points out of this. I think most of the points, more or less, the Japanese create with the army to kill enemy Chinese, Dutch, Malayan, British, American forces, Australian forces. If it's enough to really create the auto victory, we will see. This is maybe not possible, but it's important to be here successful for the Japanese. Good. So no real big change. I explained already last time a lot. Still moving units around. My headquarters still not arrived, so I need one more turn to catch up with my fighting forces, and then I will continue my drive on Xi'an. In the center is no big change. I'm moving units after I opened first the railway last turn, so I'm moving now units in Kaifeng, and then I will start the drive here to Nanyang with my tank forces, I think. I first use the tanks to quickly take the highway, and then I will use infantry to secure the area. once I left the open field, my tanks have less capability. I think tanks are good in open field, but in mountain rough terrains, I think they suffer, and they have not more the big impact. South China is also needing time. KilRoy plays a game that he defend every hex, so he's only barely moving much units around. Also, my scouts are focusing on give me update information about where's the units, if they are moving, and like this. I don't really focus much attention on the big bases now, because it's not time to strike for them. Hong Kong was easy, swift victory with minimum damage. You can see only 1 damage out of 80. The shipyard have no damage at all. Light industry a little damage. Resources are fine. So Hong Kong was all successful. Not only I will get rid of these British forces quickly on, I also can secure all of the industry without losing much potential value for the future. Burma, no activity. There's a ship somehow passing by and my bombers don't want to attack them. That can happen. Here is nothing more to see, nothing to see. I was successful here taking this hex, but the way to Georgetown is still blocked. So I drive one forces here to Arlon Star and this other force is going for Georgetown. But because I was able to take the Temoloth, I can now bring the 15th army directly to this position, then maybe cross west and walk down south. The only really big mistake on my side, because it's a mistake, I somehow moved this unit northwest. Of course, this army unit was supposed to walk west on the highway, and normally they can walk in one way on the highway, 1 hex per day. So I could normally have here already a block force and close all the railway. Now I have to more or less move this unit again in west. So I waste here 1 day to block the retreat of British forces back to Singapore. Nothing else here happened. We had here still many task forces, but nothing really important. Most is all cargo ships, PGs. This can be something else, but most of time they are similar size. Like if it's a PG, it can also be a cargo ship, but it will not be normally battleships or something like this. But here many task forces moving, trying to escape. Okay. And somehow my cruiser formation I sent normally to get rid of this one single ship, or now there are 2 ships maybe, but I miss each other. So I will try to catch these guys maybe in the next turn. And there are also some submarines. This I think maybe all damaged submarines out of Manila. They escaped my first attack and maybe are all damaged because they're maybe slow. So I must try to pick them up before they arrive at Surabaya. So these are the American submarines and here is a Dutch submarine. You can see maybe barely the different color. This is green for America and this is gray for Dutch. So there's also a second submarine patrolling north of Miri. Anything else? There was no battle in Philippines, but I arrive already at the next base and maybe I can take with my tank forces this base north of Manila, and then I can bring in most of my attack value to take Manila as soon as possible. Simply it's the base of all industry in Manila, at least here in Luzon, northern Philippines. Clarkfield is really only a airport and nothing more. So, but it has no industry value. So I like to take Manila first. Also, every ship is under repair and every damaged airplane on the field will be then destroyed. So I think taking Manila before Clarkfield is a better choice. But everyone can choose. We had some activity here in Rabul, but I was only landing more units, more troops. So this is not successful. One of my small cargo ship sets is on fire, is damaged, and will maybe sink next turn. But it's only 3-point ship. It doesn't matter. That is the price I have to pay for this early amphibious assaults. Now island I took, but surprise, surprise. My forces for Markin was normally on the way to Tarawa, gets completely destroyed, but it was only one light cargo ship. So, but I lost also all my marines. This is the more painful price. I can see here 4 ships. We know it was 2 heavy cruisers and 2 destroyers. But here's also something more. So here is a carrier. At least one carrier is operating close to this cruiser formation, and maybe cover this unit. So if I go here in with surface units like cruisers or destroyers and battle these guys, then this carrier fleet will normally attack me. So I must be a little careful. And my air forces here in the Marshall Islands, they are all, let's say, limited in their power. I have this patrol aircraft, but they are really mainly trained for only search mission. You can see Navy search, but they don't have any ability to use bombs or torpedoes. Not this early on. Then there is this. I have this Nell bomber unit, but they have the training for bombing and torpedoes. Nothing really crazy good. Some are good, some are so-so. The problem is with bombs I must fly low, and the American warships have acceptable good anti-aircraft so early in the war already, and torpedoes I cannot use because the game setup is like this. I have here the airbase of 4, so I can use twin engine bombers, but I don't have a HQ in this base. The HQ is in the next base, but here is an airfield of 1, so I cannot use twin engine bombers. So this is a little messed up. Normally the HQ must be in Royo Namu to support my bombers. But even if I have the HQ in the bombers together and the torpedoes to create damage, I have no fighter escort. And if KilRoy uses carrier fighters to give long range cap over his cruisers, then I will lose for sure my Nell bombers early on. So I'm not too eager to really attack these task forces. I let them come to me and wait what KilRoy planned to do. At the same time, I will bring reinforcements to this location. My carrier division was normally on the way to Rabul, but now I will change the direction and sail east. I must sail east to see and have an option that I can maybe fight with these American forces. I still have also not a really good detection on this unit, so if it's now 1 carrier or 2 carriers, if there are battleships inside, I don't know. But I must keep an eye on it. At least KilRoy already at least try to strike back in small quantity early on. And similar to the reality, I think of early on after the strike on Pearl Harbor, the Americans sent one, I think, carrier division also into the Marshall Islands, only to show presence and strike back, not with any big impact, but it's give maybe pressure to the player, so that, and if you're a little nervous, you will maybe overreact to this. This is maybe the main tactic behind this. I must now bring in my carriers. I had normally other operations for them to do, only simply to cover my bases and invest and be on guard for the next 2-3 turns at least. Good. Thank you all. Take care. Bye bye.